And yes, that's the USB cable connecting and disconnecting. I've yet to figure out what it is. I have unplugged every USB cable from this thing, and the computer still makes that weird USB cable connection. I have no idea. The only USB connection port that's going to the computer right now is the interface. And if it was connecting and disconnecting, you wouldn't be hearing the stream the way it's working. So I'm really at a loss to figure out what is going on with the USB cable connection thing on the computer. But let me get the chat window open. You guys have been super busy. It seems like everyone has went out and went on a buying spree. We definitely need to talk about some of these things. Linnell was hollering in here saying that there's some guitars been bought and some amps have been bought. I need to find out what's going on. Who bought what? Only thing I heard was something about a Spark for $100. I'm looking at the chat. I do know that there's a delay. I think she said Kurt Inscale had bought the Spark. Mm-hmm. Was that who it was? Yep. So I assume was that used for $100? I'm not really sure. And it looks like the chat has just stopped moving. As soon as I started talking, the chat stopped moving. That means my chat rate's going to go down. Let me set this over here. He sent me pictures.
He says he will send you pictures.
Oh, okay. Well, everything has went to Teams now, and I'm not. You know what? I'm not going to do that. I just spent 10 minutes, guys. Look, getting this untangled, and I was getting ready to wrap my cord around my headphones again, and I'm pretty sure that's what caused that issue to start with. So I saw that exact. Oh, my screen just went crazy. I saw that exact same Ibanez at my local shop. It even looks. Yeah, it looks. This is an awesome looking top on this guitar. It really is. And what's nice is sometimes when they do the body like this, they don't do the headstock. So Ibanez definitely, they went out of the mark. And we did go to the local music store today, and they too had a brand new version of this guitar in the gray. And the gray model looks pretty sharp. Well, the other one was like a natural, wasn't it?
No, it was like a birch.
Yeah, they had another one. The body was even thinner on it. It was a different model Ibanez. The guitar jack come in sideways right here. Extremely thin body with a natural top on it. That was an awesome looking guitar. That one was $499, I think. Both had fixed bridges. So I'm kind of liking that series Ibanez for the money. It seems like a pretty nice guitar, especially. When you consider budget guitars, once you start putting pickups and putting tuners and stuff on the budget guitar, and you can get that guitar for $450, and it doesn't need any of those things. That it has a solid bridge, it has solid tuners, it has solid pickups, and you don't have to mess with it. That definitely puts it, in my opinion, as a budget guitar. Because if you take a $250, $300 budget guitar, and you have to even put tuning keys on it. Good tuning keys are at least $60. So then you're almost at that price point just changing tuning keys. Good set of strings, nice pickup, it doesn't take long to add that extra $150, $200 to your guitar and be right at the Ibanez price point. And I say that too about the Revstar I bought. That thing's got an incredible sound. To be at the 550 price point, that's pretty good. It's actually really good. And this is coming from a guy that does a lot of budget guitar stuff. The thing with what I call budget car guitars, I call them fast guitars. They're built fast. That doesn't mean you can't get a good one. There are good ones out there. But you have a higher percentage of bad ones since they're built extremely fast. And usually the quality control on the back end of those guitars is missing. That doesn't mean you can't get a good one. There are great ones out there. You guys know that. But you got a higher chance with Ibanez and some of the higher price point guitars. What was that, honey?
I was just saying, Devastator's gonna send you pictures of their new toys also.
Oh, everyone's sending new. It says I have 2 new pictures here. So I'm going to click on the first one. Oh, one of 2. Got it. Okay, guys, let me see if we can get Devastator's picture up here. This is Devastator's new Yamaha. And I wanted to, oh, there we go. That's how we can scroll down. Here's the headstock. I like the Yamaha, the little leaf logo thingy. I think that's pretty cool. And going down, we look at the sound hole here and the pick guard. Looks like we got some little dots right here. They might be little spots in the finish. And then I already saw this one. This is his Funny Honey's new guitar. Let me turn the furnace off here, guys. It just switched on. So yeah, he sent me this picture, I think, last night or the night before. And when I first saw it, I thought it was a Pacifica, because it kind of looks like the Pacifica, but it's not. I think it's a, what did he say it was? I can't remember. It's a AXI or something, I think is what he told me. AXL. Looks like it's a natural finish, rosewood fingerboard. Got a little tremolo on it. I don't know if that's wired like a standard Fender, if it has volume and 2 tones, or if it's 1 tone and 2 volumes and a 5-way switch. Devastator will have to inform us on what the wiring layout is on that. So let me now get to see if there's another. Ooh, I just closed that window, didn't I? I'm not very good at that stuff, guys. Teams is new to me. Is this the one he's? Yeah, it.
Searching for tone is on.
It looks like it's a Boss Katana that he has sent me. Kurt in scale. Let me see if I can get back to the Teams window. So I think this is the Katana head. Am I correct on that? And then here's the spark that he just picked up. So that was $100. Now I'm gonna have to ask Kurt, was that new or if that was a used price? I'm not overly sure. So those are the 2 that Kurt got. I really need to get my Stream Deck up and working, because when I flip things, I lose the chat and then I lose the main window. I don't even know which camera I'm on. Okay, now if I can get the chat halfway open and keep my OBS open. Yeah, Kurt Inscale says it's a 100, brand new. 100 new. So which spark is that? I'm not up on all the sparks. I know Honey Tap bought a spark and he seems to like it. And new guitar I sent pics of. Oh, he sent guitar pics. I got to go back and look at the guitar pics. It looks like two different guitars. So let's go over the guitar pics real quick, guys. Go back to display screen. So here's the back of the first picture. Here's the front. Looks like it's a Schecter. And then here's the next photo. Ooh, a headless. That kind of looks like an E-art. If it's not an E-art, it looks really similar to an E-art. It could be an NK too by looking at the back of it. Not overly sure. It might be an NK. Which model guitar is that? See, I always get messed up with my chat window. Kurt says the one's a Hellraiser. What's the headless? Is that an NK? It reminds me of an NK because of that little piece of wood where the jack plug is. That's my favorite guitar. It's an E-Art W1. Okay, yeah. That was my first guess, was an E-Art. The Hellraisers are good guitars for the amount of money that you spend on the Hellraiser. That's a sharp guitar. I'm not too sure which model Jupes is that I have down in the basement that I'm working on right now. I don't know if that was a Hellraiser or not. That one has a different inlay on the neck, the one Jupe sent me. I'm pretty sure he told me which one that one is. Hey, we got Searching for Chone in here. Good to see you, man. Has anyone watched the Eurovision contest? No, Cole, I haven't. I have been super busy this week. Things changed at my job, and my job position changed this week. So I'm acclimating to my new position at work, and that kind of slowed me down with a lot of things this week as far as keeping up with what was going on. The trim on the E-Art is the best trim I've ever used on a guitar that costs $300 new. Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I had an E-Art here, but I'm pretty sure that one was a fixed bridge E-Art. It required that little tool that it had like a magnet. The tool would stick to the side of the bridge. You know, you could put the tool in the thing and you could turn, but you could turn it with your finger. So I think the tool was just for when you put new strings on it. Because when you put the string down, there was a cam, and it would spin up on the cam. And I think the tool made it faster for string changes. Because I did not need it to tune the instrument. But I'm pretty sure that one was a fixed-based bridge. And I see Pentagore just joined the group. We got a lot of people in here. We got Time Surfing Alien, Surfing for Tone, Birdman, Cole had. Now, I'm pretty sure he's in Israel, so it's probably like 4 a.m. in the morning there. We've got Jupe. We've got Jerry. We got Devastators in the group. And if I'm missing anybody, I apologize.
Jupe said his is a Banshee Extreme.
Banshee Extreme is what Jupe's is. Okay, well, that makes sense. And if I'm missing anybody, I apologize, but that's the one that I see when I'm scrolling back up.
Jerry said you're in charge of the coffee machine now.
You know, that was something I need right now. Honey, can I have some coffee?
You want coffee or hot chocolate?
Actually, I want some coffee. I'm gonna change it up tonight. That way, Devastator's woman's all confused and doesn't know whether to bring coffee or hot chocolate to him. Surfing for Toad. He's got a little fan group in here. That's cool, man. We like celebrities joining in. Ha! We're all the same, guys. That's what's cool. Some people, think this like I'll get a comment, and I guess people think one thing or the other about it because you have a YouTube channel. Guys, I'm a dude that works all day, comes home and loves music, and wants to share, working on guitars and playing with you guys. You know, if you guys were my neighbors, we would probably be out doing hamburgers and hot dogs every night, jamming on guitars, doing cookouts during the summer. The neighborhood would be crazy. And I guess that's what YouTube is. You know, it's nothing about, it's us hanging out and talking. I get to live precariously through you guys because, believe it or not, nope, I was going to say I didn't buy anything at the music store, but I did. The picks that we went over last live stream, I ended up having to order these picks. My local store did not have them. They had them in a multi-pack, but you only got like 4 of these picks and 4 different. It had a bunch of different picks on it. And I didn't want to buy a multi-pack just to get 4 picks. So they're special ordering me a package of these. I can't remember if it was, I think it was 24 in a pack. At first they thought they were going to have to order a 72 pack for me. But he did come back and say, I think it's a 24 pack. So I do have some of these picks coming. I'm really liking them. We went over it in the last stream. If you guys are wanting more info on them, I went back and forth on these picks. And the more I use this pick, the more I'm really noticing it doesn't hang up on the strings. And everyone knows I'm not a fantastic guitar player, but anything that's going to help me get the pick across the strings or clean up my playing or make it easier for me to learn, I'm all about it. And he definitely looked at my style and realized that this was going to be a pick for me. And it does seem to help me. And maybe some people go, oh, you know, it's a mental thing. I don't think so in this case, because a 1.5 and a 2 millimeter pick is not a pick that I would ever think about using. To me, that would just be way too thick. But I've been using it all week, and I liked it so much. I went into the store and I had them order me some.
Nicholas said glad they were.
Yeah, they're super nice. So, like I said, Nicholas, thank you so much for sending them to me. Right now, I think it's really helping me. So I've ordered more. And Ben sent an image. So let's see what image he sent. I have to go back. I'm still learning Teams, guys. So it's not the greatest thing. So Ben sent some pick pictures here. Let me see if I can get back to display screen. Teams. Here's the picture Ben just sent of some picks. Trying to zoom in on them. Looks like a V pick. That's what it says on it, V pick. This chamfer on this pick right here, it's very similar to what I just ordered. They have a chamfer like that on them as well. And this little chamfer really seems to, I'm assuming that's what I'm liking about this pick, is this chamfer. Very similar. I kind of like the holes too. Now everyone's going to be sending me picks, so I'm going to be all confused on which picks to get. I'm kind of sticking with what I just ordered. I'm kind of liking this pick. And it is helping me on, let me show you. It is definitely helping me. I keep closing my chat window. And I've always struggled with this, guys. When you're sitting here just and I'm still learning, but I find just doing that, it doesn't seem to hang up as much. And when I go up, That was really slow, but it just seems to be a little cleaner. Folding the pick forward, because if you watch, it seems to work better at that as well. Ooh, I'm gonna drop it. Thank you, honey. So I've got this really strange style, and sometimes the other pick would get almost like caught funny in my finger, okay? Because I'm using this to hammer on with. So I fold the pick. So I find this pick seems to roll out better. And it seems to be just as easy. I was using the other pick due to the harmonics. This has helped me a lot.
Are you holding it flat to the string or putting an angle?
I'm doing a little bit of an angle, just a little bit. I'm still figuring it out. It seems like it likes a little bit of an angle. I'm not a fast player, guys, but it seems to glide over the strings a little easier for me. It goes across the strings quicker than I'm used to moving my fingers to the new location. So now I'm trying to relearn to get my fingers to properly go over the strings. Now that I'm not, I guess, mispicking, that it's going across the strings a little easier, now I hear the mistakes in my fingers. I'm really liking them. So again, thanks so much for sending those out. And I would have never gotten to that point, guys. That's the whole point in this chat. Hopefully everyone in the chat right here capitalizes on that. Everyone here has knowledge or something that the other person is unaware of. Whether it's an effect, whether it's how to set up a mixing board, what pick or string gauge, or whatever it is. You know, I go back, like I say, every stream, and I'll read the chat and I'll listen to the chat. And even though I might not be engaging with you right now on that, believe me, I go back and I'll watch it just to see, okay, who's saying what and why are they saying that? Because I want to learn, and learning from people that do what I do, play guitar, whether it's writing sequences on my Akai here or playing guitar or recording. I'm not the best by any means. So I want to learn what you guys have figured out. Why should I struggle for 5 years learning how to do something if someone's already had that struggle and they can go, hey, Avery, if you try this, you might get to that end result quicker. And that's what the chat's about. I can't stress enough how happy I am when people join in and they bring that information in. That's what it's about. Anyway, guys, if I switch over here, remember how I always say that I don't have enough time to really play and work on sequences? And believe me, I'm not going to play the sequence that I just wrote because it is stupid broken. I'm used to a Korg M1, and I have not been using my Akai as much as I used to. I was just really starting to get the swing of this unit. Okay? And I ended up doing a lot more YouTube. So I ended up not writing and doing the things that I bought it for. So today I sat down and I started writing sequences. And when I say writing sequences, I was actually placing the note. Like if you look right here, this is a graph, and it's set to I got one measure of 2/4 in it. I was trying to write a sequence for the little ditty that I just played, and it is not standard 4/4, and I do a lot of that, guys. I don't know if you realize that. I don't really play in too many standard time signatures. I really thought that thing was 4/4, and it's actually not. So I was really struggling with getting the bars set up. So I figured I'd cheat and add just one measure of 2/4 to bring it back around for the progression. And I hit quantize, and I thought I had it to where I had missed. If you listen here, well, you don't want it to sound like a robot, but I had really screwed up one note when I placed it in the sequence. So I figured I'd go back in and I would try to use the quarantine function, and I would set it within, a 64th note, and it would shift it. Well, evidently I was off in a couple different spots, and it shifted a bunch of the notes and got it really screwed up. I'm sure there's a way that I could have went back, but I don't know how to do that. And I ended up messing up the whole sequence because I used the quarantine function to shift the notes. I thought it would fix the one note, and it ended up shifting a lot of the notes. So I want to start writing more, guys. I really do. I feel the need to sit and start writing again. I used to do a lot of writing. And I have a very powerful tool here. This Akai is 32 track, and I can actually plug my guitar in my let's say I'm running a line 6. I can come right out of the line 6 into the back of the Akai, and I can record my guitar and vocals and all that right into the Akai. I do have a Motul time clock sequencer from MIDI, so I could use my Tascam DP32 and use what's called a sync track and sync the Akai to the track, and then I could do a lot. It just comes down to time, and I miss recording. I do. And I sat down with this today, and I really wanted to do something for like an intro for the channel. And I think in the next month or two, guys, you're going to see the channel's going to have maybe a generic intro, something that I wrote. I want to get back. It's not going to be anything fancy, guys. I don't have time to do too much. And I know what probably everyone's throwing stuff at the screen right now going, well, why don't you just load some samples and start chopping and editing samples? I'm not big on pre-recorded samples, if that makes sense. I know there's a lot of you can, but these new DAWs, you can pretty much download everything, and it's just cut, paste it in the measure where you want, cut. You can rearrange it. I'm not going to say that that's not writing music, but it's not how I used to do it. I would actually go in and tell the machine if I wanted to write a drum track. I would lay out my bass, lay out my snare, lay out my, and actually write it in the measure, place it where I want it to be. And I'm not used to these pre-recorded samples. I'm not saying it's bad. Maybe when you get these sample packs, maybe that's what it's about. You go in, you slice it, you put it in your sequencer, and then you run it as a sequence. Once you paste it and glue it all together, it might be okay. I've just never done that. So doing what the Akai was doing today, I figured I have a lot to learn compared to my old Korg M1. But this machine is so far advanced compared to what I used to have. It's going to be a steep learning curve for me. And I haven't played keyboards a lot in the last 10 years, so I'm still struggling with the whole keyboard thing. Let me go back to, let me see if I can get to track 2. Yep, it's not alive. I thought track 2 was alive, but it is not alive. So let's try track 3. So there's track 3. So each track you can put a sound sample, whether it's a drum, keys, bass. So this one is Awakening, and it's a really good keyboard sound. Of course, it does that weird thing there at the end. So I really need to get back into it. Kurt says used a lot of keys in my metal recordings. It's just more. You can do it. It takes a lot. Kurt, if you did that, that's very talented. To get it to all pull together, that's the thing. Keyboards it's such an open. It's not like a piano. People go, oh, it's piano. There's so much more keys can do due to sampling. Organs, just amazing things. 20 years ago, people used to come up to me and go, well, I learned an instrument just by a workstation. And this workstation here, I've yet to mess with it. But I've heard recordings of people using the keyboard to do guitar sounds, and it's almost indistinguishable from a guitar. Of course, you've got touch-sensitive keys. Once you get a feel for doing it, that's the thing. Just like the bass line track on this thing. Once you get a good feel for emulating the bass and recording your bass line in your track, it's almost indistinguishable from a real bass. The exact same thing with the drum kit. Now, by itself, you can kind of hear it's electric. You can tell that that's an electric kit. But once it's in the mix and you put effects on it, you compress it, it becomes really hard to tell. Can you tell? Yes. But at this price point and the power that it has, It's incredible. I remember spending $1,000 just on a drum machine. And that wasn't a sequencer, it wasn't a keyboard, it wasn't a recorder. This thing's I think it's a 32 track recorder with a built in sequencer, keys. Um, it's crazy. For $1,500, I paid more than $1,500 for one ADAT machine back in the day. And I had two of them with the Mackie. And, it wasn't MIDI. You still lost a track, due to the Korg M1 sequencer. You still had to sequence the thing so the ADAT would stay in sync with your sequencer. So this thing does it all. It has a time clock in it. But I think I trust the Motul time clock, my XT, more than this. You have to have what's called a master clock. So I would use that as my master clock, and then, just need to sit down and do it. Right on, Kirk Inskill. I have learned some hillbilly while I was in Kentucky. I don't know what you guys are talking about. You probably got bored of me talking about sequencers. I gotta take this thing off. It's burning my ears. But I don't know how many of you actually record, or are you? That's a good question. How many here in the group are recording musicians? How many people here in the group are, we'll call them bedroom musicians? And then how many of you are live performers? I am going to call myself a bedroom performer because I no longer play out and I no longer record, just like I just said. I don't record music anymore. I don't record music for bands anymore. I don't do live sound anymore. I don't play in a band anymore. So I'm going to consider myself an at-home music lover that just likes to putter with music. That's just me. I'm sure there's people here that are playing out, professionally, making money. And I'm pretty sure Kurt is doing a lot of recording. I've seen his rig in his studio. He has quite a bit of equipment. Some of that equipment definitely tells me that he did play out at one time, but I would say he's definitely recording. Yeah, it says I was a live performer, now recording. I could tell that by looking at the photos that you sent me. I could see the sound reinforcement drivers, the mixers and stuff that you have is more live sound based. I record, no playing out. That's Pentagore. Yeah. Jupe says, bedroom jammer here. And Jerry says he's definitely a bedroom jammer. I'm looking at Time Surfing Alien to see if he's chimed in, whether he's out playing or recording. I'm not seeing that. Talk to ADD Chicken. I'm vegan.
Talk about chicken. I'm vegan.
Vegan. Technically, most of the people, everyone here knows I'm an Adventist. I believe in going to church on today. Today's the Sabbath. It's Saturday. But I still eat meat. I try not to eat pork and stuff like that, but I do eat meat. So I'm not a veggie only Seventh-day Adventist. Searching for Tone says that he's a bedroom hack. Okay. Colonel says he's a YouTube watcher only. Well, we've got to change that because you can't just watch YouTube. You gotta jam in the bedroom at least, man. Stefan says bedroom only. There's nothing wrong with that. Well, I don't do it in my bedroom. This is, believe it or not, guys, this is my living room. We don't actually have a living room in my home. The living room is the YouTube music room. That's the only chair in our living room, and you see what resides in it. There's always a guitar taking up the recliner. So pretty much our living room is all music. We don't actually have like a family room with a TV or anything in it. This is the This is the room, the main room in the house, and it is music. The only other rooms in the house are the kitchen and the bedrooms. This is a music house. The Spark. Oh, I see Jerry come in. U.S. changes, the guitar playing abound, and you're playing and jamming. Yeah, I've heard a lot of people talk. I have really come a long way since I started. If you go back and watch my very first video, I was very green to the fact of some of this new stuff. Linnell bought a little Yamaha amp. Everyone here knows. What you hear on the live streams now is that little Yamaha amp. I'm not even using my Line 6 Stomp anymore. The amp is just so stupid simple to set up and get a good sound out of. I come right out of the headphone jack, right into the interface. It is so stupid simple, and that's what I like about it. I can literally turn it on. I turn 3 knobs, and I've got a good sound. I don't have to go through a bunch of different settings and this and that. I'm not saying anything against the Line 6 Stomp. I'm not saying anything bad about my rack mount unit. But if I need a good quick sound, I've been going to that.
Kurt sent you 2 pics, one from when he was 18 and one from a few years ago.
Okay, let's go and look at the pics Kurt sent. And I gotta find my Teams thing again. +2. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I've got some photos like this, guys. I definitely have some photos like this. All right, we're gonna check out the photos he just sent. I definitely have some of these. There he is. That's the group. I remember these lights. We had 2 racks of these things, and you would start sweating, and it would feel like your scalp was on fire, because the places you played didn't have stupid tall ceilings, and a lot of times them things would be like maybe a foot or 2 away from your head, and it would literally feel like your hair was going to catch on fire. It was crazy. And here's the second pick. Heck yeah. I'm liking the bass. I'm pretty sure that's the bass I want to buy, but I want it in the... Is that the Pro? The Epiphone Pro 4 or Pro 5 or whatever it's called? I'm pretty sure that's what that... I want the 5-string version of that bass so bad. That's a bad butt bass right there. Is that a blue tube crate? Or is that what was it? It was a blue something. The guy I played with in a band had one. That thing was mean. I think it was called a blue tube or something.
He said yeah.
That's what it is?
I guess. I mean, he said yeah.
Yeah to the crate or yeah to the bass? That's the thing. I'm liking that bass though. If you have not played this Epiphone bass that has the multicolor neck through system like this, a Blue 100. Those amps are crazy stupid. When I say, guys, Crate sometimes got a bad reputation, but that amp was mean. It was a mean sounding amp. Great sounding amp. And these basses, if anyone has the opportunity to play one of these basses, they are phenomenal basses from Epiphone. 100% phenomenal bass from Epiphone. Great bass. Honey made me coffee, so I gotta have some coffee. That was my first sip on the coffee. Playing bass, me. Yes, it's a Blue 100. Yeah, if guys, those amps are actually selling for pretty decent money right now. So if you have one of those Crate Blues, don't sell it. people just are now starting to realize they had a sound, and it was a unique sound. Everyone talks about the Marshall sound. That particular crate has a sound. You probably know the sound and just didn't realize it was a crate. Um, it has an attack like you wouldn't believe. And the guy I played with, I was always the rhythm player in every band I ever played in. Well, I take that back. The last group we played in, the lead player kept messing up and he was fired. And I was promoted to lead. And the sound guy, believe it or not, the sound guy would always sit back and play our music. He was the sound guy, but he knew the songs backwards and forwards. So one day we went to practice. It was just me playing. I said, well, why don't we let the sound guy be the rhythm player? He knows the songs. And he said, well, he's only been playing a year. And I said, well, I don't care. He knows the songs, and he knows the songs. And he played well. Even though he'd only been playing maybe a year or two, he knew the songs. So the band made it for about another year before we broke up. The drummer ended up falling off a scaffold down in the city hanging sheetrock, broke his own arm, and that was pretty much the last straw of the band. Probably the best band I ever had the opportunity to play with. Very, very talented group of guys. But just accident after accident after accident, we ended up calling it quits.
Kurt said the band is called Tricks. We've been the same band for 26 years, but now all I do is record. And then Tom Surfing Alien said, wow, that's longer than 2 of my marriages.
Wow, time surfing alien. It's nice. Believe it or not, guys, the longer you're with a set group of people, the more it just becomes an extension of you. You start to know what the other person's going to do really before they do it. You get to know note sequences for what that guy does before he does a change or a bridge. Every guitar player, every bass player, every drummer has something that is their signature thing that they do. Now, it might evolve over time, and you hear it in my playing. There are certain things that I always root back to. Once you play with me long enough, you get a feel for, okay, Avery's not necessarily going to stop on the 1-2. He might play this out to 4-6, or he might do a 2-4, but you'll start to realize when I'm going to repeat the measure, do a half measure, and then repeat the bar. A lot of people go, oh, you screwed up. Well, sometimes it's not necessarily a screw up. You're just changing your bar. There's no set rule saying that you have to play 4 measures of 4-4. That bar can be 1 measure of 7-8 and 2 of, 4-4. It's whatever you classify that bar being, if that makes sense. I've always looked at it as a bar would be a sequence. Whatever that sequence is, that is 1 bar. A measure is just the 4 notes or 3 notes or 7 notes in whatever time that you're playing. And I could be completely wrong, but that's how my little squirrel brain has always let me figure things out, if that makes sense. That's how I considered bars and measures. So that's how I would write things. Laugh out loud, trying to keep the wife happy. Yeah, guys, the older we get, I think we should get better, because the more mistakes that you've previously made, you should probably learn on those mistakes. I'm far from perfect. You can ask Linnell. But Linnell loves me, so she accepts my imperfections. And the same is true with her, me to her. No one's perfect. But I think the older we get, the easier it becomes to understand that we're not perfect. And nothing will ever be perfect. Even though you think you just played the perfect solo, you made a mistake somewhere in there.
Jude wants to know if you have any
I probably do somewhere. I would have to reach out to some of the old band members. You know, guys, I don't even think I really have any pictures anymore. We had a singer, Vamp was his name. Um, can't even remember his real name. Everyone just called him Vamp. Um, I know that he still lives nearby. I know that his girlfriend at the time took pictures of everything. So I'm pretty sure he would have photos of that stuff. I'm sure it's out there. They, with all the stuff that we did, if you dug long enough, I'm sure you could find something. I'm sure if I went back in my photo albums, I could find some stuff. But there was a change where I moved and I lost a lot of stuff. But I would have to go back and look. Some of that stuff I don't know if I want to see because I had some long hair, and I don't know if I'd even be recognizable at this point. Linnell says, well, she knows. She saw me back then. She says that, yeah, I look the same. I look the same other than all the crow's foots, the wrinkles, and the short hair. It's the big wrinkle thing in the chicken neck that I'm getting. Isn't that awful? I look, sometimes, guys, I look at the YouTube video, I'm like, holy mackerel, I'm getting a chicken neck. Next thing I'll be gobbling like a chicken on here. It's bad. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm getting old. I never thought that day would come, but it is here. And I stop and I go, wow, should I even be playing this kind of music anymore? I should be playing the rhythm and blues and kicking cans down the street or something. It's so funny. It's just my little squirrel brain. Sometimes that's what I think. But I love what I play, and I'm sure the younger generation goes, yep, he's an 80s, 90s guy. And that's fine. That's the kind of music that I really enjoy. Not saying that I don't like newer stuff, but I enjoy the late 80s and 90s music the most. Oh, Vox is in. Vox had an issue with one of our favorite streams, and we were on last night, and I saw he was able to post. So whatever was transpiring, I'm glad Vox got taken care of. I know that he was a little upset that he couldn't post. He said he was watching Phil's stream and then couldn't post anymore. And last night I saw him post. So congratulations, Vox, for getting that straightened out. I don't know what was going on, but I'm glad that it was fixed. That's no problem, man. Work comes first, just like family. No big deal. So, yeah, I'll dig around, see if I can't find some pictures. I'm sure that I can find something.
Jerry said always hear an element of blues when you play.
You always hear an element of what?
Blues when you play.
Well, I agree with that because rock and roll, I think, really stems from the blues. There's a lot of blues, unless you're playing the, like a Malmsteen thing. That's more neoclassical based. But I think most rock music would be more blues based. And the blues, I don't know how to say this without upsetting someone. I'm not going to say the blues is simpler. I think that it's more intuitive to learn quicker. Okay? When I was playing, the blues influenced rock was more acceptable. So when I was learning to play, bending notes and stuff like that was the end thing. Playing the Inve stuff, the more scaly type stuff, that was being done, but I think a lot of people didn't necessarily gravitate to that because of the time it took to learn. They were more into bending the notes and playing some basic blues riffs to get that power and that sound. I think that was easier to learn to start with than playing some of these fancy arpeggios and stuff like that. I think that a lot of it is just that. You start playing out.
Cole has to go to bed.
Oh, well, I get it, Cole. I'm glad you were able to come into the stream, buddy. I know it's really, really late there. Thank you so much for coming in. But when you're out playing out, a lot of bands, when you first hear them, they might be a little rough. You know, young band, they're playing their first couple gigs. Then they make the determination they want to get better. So the ones that seem to stick around, they'll fall back to more of a root style playing. They want to sound better, so they take the polish, okay, and they polish the basic. And I think playing that style in a simpler form is easier than playing, you know, scales, diminished. It gets complicated really quick. And to play that stuff accurately, I think takes more time to learn. So I think rock in general starts out the way I play. Like I said, I'm not a super great guitar player. So I think we learn that. And when we get a good grasp on that, then we start pushing the envelope. We start learning more advanced scales. We learn modes. Then we learn how to sweep pick or double pick. And we keep building on it. And then I think, believe it or not, when you get all that down, I think then we revert back to the basics. Because then it's like, oh, all I'm doing is just shredding. You know, I've heard shred guitar players that are great. They put feeling in it. But I'm going to say 95% of them that I see on YouTube just play fast. There's no feel. It's just a bunch of notes slammed together. They're accurate. They're playing accurate. There's no missed notes. They're stupid fast. I just can't listen to it that long. But there is that 5% that have went to that level and said, okay, I'm going to scale it back now, and I'm going to add the feel to it. You know, they've got that down, they've got this down, now they're doing both, and they just become stupid good musicians. Oh, okay, Time Surfing Alien, it's good to see you, buddy. Probably see you tomorrow morning on, what's his name, stream, where you're usually there in the mornings. Good to see you, and like I said, thanks for joining in. But I think a lot of it comes from that, guys. We keep building, okay, and we get better and better and better, and then we want to learn a new style, and we add that. But I think we always come back to something a little more basic to get that feel and what we have bonded with, if that makes sense. I think someone said the other week that I sounded a lot like, what was that band? I think it was the first time I had been referenced to that band.
Starts with an S.
Yeah. The sun shined down on me. They did down on me. Dun dun dun. That anyway, they said my style reminded them of that. And I had never really thought about that band in my style. I mean, I kind of hear it, but I thought I had more of a. I think my rhythm playing is more of a George Lynch offbeat kind of style, and I think my lead style is probably more.
Jackal.
Yeah, Jackal. I mean, I can hear it, especially in some of my bluesier progressions, but everyone's always, you know, when I played bars, they compared me to my chord structuring more like Lynch and the guy from Warrant. I can't remember his name.
Jerry White said you remind me of Dokken and Rat.
Yeah, Rat. That's an awesome band. I used to play a lot of Rat. But a lot of people said Lynch and what did I just say? The other guy from Warrant. So I don't know. I think we gravitate to what we bond with quicker. Does that kind of make sense, guys? And I played a lot of half chordings. The rhythm guitar player that I played with, I had to figure out how to play and still be heard. So what I would do, since I was a rhythm player, I played a lot of phrasings underneath of him. Not phrasings like lead. I would use the third, fifth, whatever note that I could play that wasn't necessarily the root of what the lead player was playing, just to give a little bit more bottom end to the song. And I played simple. I did not do a lot of. I did if the rhythm if the lead player had something going on. Let me show you. Let's pretend the lead was doing. So what I would do is I'd turn down a little bit again. And I would not be near his volume. Sorry, that was my tuner. So it wouldn't be necessarily near the volume. It was just the bottom end of the song. So he would be doing the. And I would just be playing basic roots. If he was here, okay, I might be going. Something other than what he was doing. If he was here, I might be here. If he was, here, I might, whatever it was. I always tried to play something simple under whatever the lead guitar player was doing. Still learning the pick. I am liking the pick. It does make. I haven't tried a couple things here. Yeah, this pick is definitely hitting my friendly spot. Being able to switch here. It works well. But during that song, my job in that song, guys, this was the original that we wrote. I did this part. But during the main riff of the song, it was much different. Each person has to find their own little niche. I am liking it. Hopefully, you guys will see a progression. I like to anything I can do that'll make my playing a little more articulate sounding and less muddy. I'm all about. Jupe, you should check out rockcamp.com. Don't know what that's about. One of the best bands I've seen was back in the late 80s. Don't like their music much, but the band was Europe. Yeah, I have to agree with that. I think Europe was a great band. I didn't necessarily care for their songs. They had a couple big hits, but they were a good band. And I can probably say the exact same thing about Warrant. I think Warrant was a good band. I didn't really care for their songs too much, but they were definitely a very talented band. I enjoyed listening to them live, but I didn't listen to them. I didn't like reach out and get a Warrant album, but I did enjoy the music. Yeah, Devastator says Europe was a good band. They were a good band. Nothing at all wrong with Europe. There were so many good bands that come out. I think we were kind of like flooded, if that makes sense. There was just so much new stuff, and everyone was pushing, especially guitar players, pushing that envelope a little further. XYZ used to love some of their songs, not all their music, but they definitely had some kick butt songs that I really liked. Uncle Tom's Cabin, yeah, from Warrant. Yep, they they all had one or two songs, but they were all phenomenal bands. 100% phenomenal bands. I can't even list them all. There were so many. All right, guys, we are at 1 hour and 8 minutes. You know what that means. It means Jerry's still with us, but we probably need a break. And I am still suffering from my sore throat, so I'm going to go out here and get something that's going to be a little easier on my throat other than this coffee. So if you're new to the channel, before we take this break, I do not have subscriber mode only on. I used to do that, but it is not subscriber mode only. So anyone can post in the chat. Hopefully you've went back and you've looked at the channel's history and what we do, and hopefully I've earned your subscription. You can go down and hit the subscribe button. You can hit the like button. And if you're still on the fence whether or not you like the channel, hopefully the live stream maybe is your thing. If live stream's not your thing, then we also do repair videos and review. So we're trying to touch base on a lot of different things, and YouTube doesn't necessarily like channels that do that, but that's what we're doing. So that's just how we do it. And since we usually do long streams, we always take a slight intermission, and that's for people to get drinks and go to the restroom and do stuff like that. So that's what we're getting ready to do right now. I'm going to minimize my window here, and I'm going to go to the intermission window. And I'll see you guys in about 5 minutes. That was a short intermission. I am still on my smoke break, but that's okay. We're all about chatting. I've noticed something else too, guys. When we do the intermission, I come back and it seems like a lot of people click out. I don't know if people click in and go, "What in the world is this intermission screen?" And they're probably like, "I've been here for like 3 minutes, and all I see is the intermission screen." So I think the regulars, they get it, but if you're clicking in and they're like, "Huh, the stream hasn't even," it says he's been on for an hour and a half, and I'm getting an intermission screen. So I always wonder about that. But we are going to make a change, guys. Linnell and I were talking when I first hit the intermission. We used to base the intermission off of Jerry. Now, Penagor has made comments on the last 3 streams that he comes back. As soon as he comes back from his break, then we're going to intermission. So I think we're going to start gauging intermission off Penagor. And I hate to say it, Jerry, but you've lost the reins on this one. I think we're going to follow lead on Penagor. He seems to be struggling holding his bladder to the intermission time. So we're going to base it on Penagor. We can't have him taking a break and then coming back from break and being right into the intermission. Yeah. So we're going to base it next Thursday or next Saturday, whichever stream he's in. He needs to put a bunch of smiley faces in a row and say, "Okay, it's break time. I can't take it no more. My legs are doing funny things under the table, and I can't wait any longer." So the next stream, it'll be the Penagor intermission break. All based on the subscribers. We got to take care of the subscribers. So we were reading the chat, and Juke was talking about his friend. I remember that pyrotechnics thing going awry. If I remember the right one, the pyrotechnics crew had done something and caught the stage on fire. Am I thinking of the right incident? There was a pyrotechnics problem, and that really sucks. Oh my gosh. I just saw Devastator. I keep forgetting you guys are like 10 seconds behind me. So I've already moved on to something else. So now we're getting the potty break jokes. But yes, we're going to base it on Penagor from now on. Penagor is going to set up the intermission times for the live stream breaks. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was a pyrotechnics accident at that show that caused the stage to cut fire. I remember reading about that, but I was unaware that people had lost their lives during that. I did not know that. I know that the band or the pyrotechnics company went to court, and there were some class action lawsuits and stuff that went on over that.
Apparently the ceiling caught fire.
Yeah, I know that it was a big thing, and it drug out. I'm pretty sure it took it did. In this area, that band was not. They were scheduled to play a couple venues in the Virginia area, and I'm pretty sure most of that stuff was canceled until they got the insurance and the lawsuits and all that stuff straight. If I'm remembering correctly, I'm pretty sure that that's what transpired. There were some pretty nasty class action lawsuits. And I don't even know what actually happened to that, if the pyrotechnics company ended up taking the fall or the band had to pay out.
Duke said, yeah, and the soundproof stuff was highly flammable.
Yeah, exactly. So that just goes to show that stuff can happen. We were watching a show on YouTube. It was a short. You guys can type it in. It was Kiss. Paul Stanley's playing guitar. He's evidently got a wig on, and his wig catches fire. Okay? His hair catches fire. Not Michael Jackson. This was Paul Stanley in Kiss. He's in makeup. His hair's on fire, and the guys in the back are coming out with towels putting out his hair. The dude does not miss a note on the guitar. He plays through his hair on fire. They put it out, his head is still smoking, and he's just playing. I have never in my life seen a musician that didn't miss a note with his hair on fire. And it was pyrotechnics. He was standing by, he was right in front, like he's standing here, and the pyrotechnics cannon is right behind him. The cannon goes off and goes across his head and instantly lights his hair on fire.
How many musicians have you seen catch their hair on fire?
I've never seen any musicians catch. Well, Michael Jackson had a problem with it, but it really messed him up. But I don't ever remember hearing a story of Paul Stanley catching his hair on fire where he needed. When Michael Jackson did it, he had to have surgery and all kinds of things. It really screwed his head up. So either Paul Stanley had a wig on or something, because his hair was on fire. That you type it in YouTube, it'll come up. When was it we saw that video? It was a couple nights ago. I'm like, oh my gosh, the dude did not miss a note. And there's two guys come rushing out of the back of the stage. The first guy thinks he gets it out, right? And he stops, and then the flames come back. So he didn't get it out, and then the second guy's patting him down with a towel. And the whole time, he's just playing along. He didn't miss a note. And there's dudes beating on his head, trying to put the fire out, and he's up there he's singing and playing at the same time and didn't miss a note. I've never seen something like that. That was my first. My kudos goes to Paul Stanley for pulling that off. I would freak out and be running off the stage, putting my head in water. It had to be a wig. That's the only thing that could have protected his head to the point where he didn't know his head was on fire. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that was his hair, and he had so much hair the heat didn't get to his scalp. Who knows? I don't know if you guys had seen that or not, that live performance of that happening with Kiss. But that was pretty scary.
Jerry said, which reminds me, if you go to one of Lester Mitchell's live streams, be careful with the emojis. Apparently they're not a fan and will let you know.
Who said this?
Jerry, if you go to Lester Mitchell's live streams, be careful if you use emojis. Apparently they're not a fan and will let you know.
You know, I like Lester Mitchell's channel.
Capital letters and it blocked out you.
Yeah, I did a bunch of capital letters. I was watching, it was a couple of weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I typed in all capital letters, and the bot said if I did it again, I'd be kicked.
Yeah, 'cause it says you were spamming.
Yeah, it said I was spanning, and if I did it again, it was going to kick me. Evidently, Lester's had some problems with spam stuff on his channel. I originally told you guys to go check out Lester's channel because he was doing a lot of tutorial stuff. He was playing and showing you how to do it. And evidently, that's how he makes a living. He teaches guitar and stuff. So Lester's really kind of pulled back from doing that. I don't know if I've actually talked about this, but everyone here knows that I do repair videos and I put them on YouTube. That has to be the worst business model for anyone like me that does repair videos to do. Because if you do it professionally for a living, you're actually killing your profession. It's like a woodworker teaching all his wood trade secrets to people, and then they don't necessarily need the woodworker anymore. But in my case, guys, I'm not a full-time guitar repair person. That's not what I do full-time. So I'm sure I've upset guitar techs that do it full-time. I'm sure they're probably like, well, why is this guy teaching all this stuff? You know, this is how I make a living. And I'm sure there's people that probably think that that's not right. So I kind of see I kind of see Lester's side on it. He stopped because he's trying to make a living giving guitar lessons. So if he goes on YouTube and he does it for free, who is going to pay him for hourly lessons when you can just go back on his channel and learn all this stuff for free? So I think now what he's doing, he has people say, can you play something in the style of this? And he finds a non-monetized music that's written in the phrasing of, let's say, Metallica or Judas Priest or classical or whatever, and then he plays ditties over it. But he's not really teaching you how to do it anymore. But originally I told you guys to go check out his channel because I think Lester has a lot of talent. He plays very well. He's one of the better shred guitar players as far as feel, if that makes sense. I'm not saying that he doesn't shred sometimes and it's just a pile of notes. He does. But if you listen to Lester, when he wants to, his phrasing is awesome. But he still does the typical shredder thing where it's just, in my opinion, there's no character to it. But he's quite capable of playing in a characteristic fashion, if that makes sense. And I don't know Lester from Adam, guys. I just know the YouTube Lester, if that makes sense. In real world, he may play completely different. But that was the reason why I said, hey, if you guys are wanting to learn a large variety, this guy can play a large variety of different stuff, and he does it really well. But his channel has changed. He's no longer kind of giving out free info anymore as far as guitar lessons. And I get it. That's how he makes a living. But in my case, me teaching you guys how to work on frets and stuff, if you're a guitar player, okay, most of you that watch the channel, we're guitar players. There are certain things that every guitar player should be able to do. You should be able to make a neck adjustment on your guitar. It's usually a seasonal thing. So you want to be comfortable enough with your instrument to make a neck adjustment. You should be comfortable enough with your instrument to put strings on it. Change your tuning, okay? The next thing, I think you should really be comfortable enough to set your own intonation. If you can do those three things, make sure your neck is at the relief or perfectly straight, whichever way you like it, put strings on it, and do intonation, I think that's a bare minimum that a guitar player should feel comfortable doing, okay? Because these are things that change. When you put a different gauge string on your guitar or a different manufacturer string on your guitar, odds are the intonation's going to be out. Yeah, hey, resolution's on. So let's say I have Cold Blue Steels on this, Dean Markley's. That's showing my age. That's what I used to play. And I switched to DRs. Odds are that the 9 to 42 DRs are not going to be intonated to my Cold Blue Steels that I had on the guitar. So I'm going to have to make some intonation adjustments. When I move my neck, let's say I'm just coming out of fall, okay, or winter, and this guitar here, the action's really low on it because spring has come, and this guitar needs a neck adjustment. So the action's real low on it. You need to be able to feel comfortable enough to put your key in it and do quarter turns. Okay, you don't have to do large adjustments. You'll get a feel for your instrument from spring to fall, and you'll start to know, okay, I've never turned my truss rod this much. Something has changed. But you'll get a feel for your guitar. Spring, fall, winter. Usually a quarter turn is all it takes to bring our guitar. Now, every climate's different. If you're up in Michigan and it's getting negative 15 and you got your guitar next to the window or a sliding door, and summer in Michigan's can get up to 100, or you got oil heat, I get it. Depending on where you put your guitar, the humidity in your house can change. But these are things that you should learn how to do. When it comes to leveling frets, okay, stripping a body down, replacing pickups, maybe replacing a potentiometer, putting a new switch in, replacing the jack, I get it. If you don't want to learn to do that kind of stuff, that's fine. That's why people like me exist, I guess, to do that kind of stuff. But if you're playing, you should know those three simple things: neck tuning, intonation, and replacing the strings. These are things that will constantly change on your guitar, no matter how good the leveling and crowning on your frets are, and no matter how good the person, the tech is that you took that guitar to and set that neck up. Once it goes through a seasonal change, it's going to move. And that tech has set that guitar up however he set it up. Okay? The intonation, everything is based on the setup. The neck relief, the string action height. If you move one item of the above, your intonation's out. Is it out a lot? Probably not. But a lot of guys will take the guitar to the tech, and the tech sets it up, and they'll get it home and it's like, well, the action's just a little high, I'm going to lower it. You just wiped out your intonation. You have. Yeah, I don't care if you just turned it an eighth of a turn, it did change the intonation a little bit. So you got to get a feel for what you like before you take it to your tech. And then the reason I'm saying on the neck adjustments, ask your tech when you pick up the guitar, how much relief did you put in the neck? And if you don't have a gauge, it's really easy. Do your first fretted note here, fret your last note, and look at how much bounce is in the string. Now I know you're just using your eyeball. I get that. But you can get a really good feel for how much that string is moving on the fret. Like this guitar here has at least, it's probably why I like it so much, it's probably 0.7 millimeters of release, maybe 0.6. I do. I like 0.6, 0.7. I like a little arc in the neck. I don't like slammed action. Now, some people like slammed action. But I bond with this guitar, and it's not even my guitar, it's the significant other's guitar. But the neck relief on this guitar, I know where it's at. So in 6 months, if I pick it up, it feels a little funny. I'm going to grab the guitar, put my pinky right here. I'm going to put it on the first fret, and I'm going to lean up. I know where it's at. I can look at it. Okay, I got that much. I'm going to get familiar with it. So in 2 months, I picked the guitar up. It's like, it feels a little weird. First thing I'm going to do, I'm going to check it. Is that what's going on with the guitar? Has the neck moved on the guitar a little bit? Take truss rod off. Make a slight adjustment. You don't want to chase it. You know, don't give it a half turn, guys. Give it a quarter turn max. Let the guitar stabilize. Let it do what it's going to do. I hear some people, they'll turn it and they'll bend the neck. You know, they're going to work that neck back and forth. Oh, I've popped it. It's fine. It's still going to want to move a little bit. It's got to get used to that new tension that the truss rod has either been taken off, or you've released tension, or you've added tension. Give it a week. You know, maybe 3-4 days. Go back to it, check it again. Make a slight adjustment. It's easier to make small adjustments than to make a large adjustment and then go, oh, it's playing great. And then 3 days later, the neck just goes crazy because you've turned it too much. And that's something that you gotta, depending on where you live and the humidity in your house and how dry it is, and the type of wood, whether it's roasted, this is not a roasted neck, all these things make a difference. Do you have carbon fiber rods in the neck? Because then it's going to take more tension on the truss rod to move it, because the carbon fiber's there so the neck doesn't move. So now you have to apply more pressure to make the neck move one way or the other due to the reinforcement rods. So, oh, they're going to sheets. So, depending on your guitar, now, I think it's Jupe that has the carving, the Kievel carving. That guitar may have, especially since it's only 2 or 3 years old, Kiesel pretty much, I think now every neck has carbon reinforcement rods in the neck. So that's going to change the amount of truss rod adjustment that guitar needs from season to season. Now, should it need that? With the carbon fiber rods and the way Kiesel does their necks, most likely that's an extremely stable neck, and Jupe most likely doesn't need to adjust it. That was the point in putting carbon fiber rods in the neck to start with. But I'll let Jupe ask, or say in the opinion whether he makes adjustments or not. But that makes a difference on how much that you have to turn the neck. And just so everybody knows, our guitar fund right now is pretty much at like $200. So just keeping everybody on an update on the guitar fund. And I have earned, it's actually been pretty good the last month as far as ad revenues. YouTube calculates the super chats and everything. So in the last 3 months, without the super chats, just ad revenue, it's coming to about 100 on this next period. So I think next month I'll get a check from that. So that'll be $100 that kicks into the YouTube fund as well. So we should be in pretty good shape, probably in the next month to do a $400 guitar. And we're on track for maybe 2 more months before we can do a $500 guitar. And that just giving everyone an update on the guitar fund for the channel. We still have a lot of guitars to review here. I want to do a review on the RevStar too, because everyone seemed really interested on the RevStar. And I want to do a review on this. Even though everyone has already seen the guitar, definitely want to do a review on it. Open it up, look at the routes of the guitar. Because the guitar, I had a Schecter, and I loved the Schecter, but until I took it apart, I didn't realize the neck was cracked from the factory because of the pre-drill. I want to look at how well this guitar is actually manufactured. It looks great. The fit and finish on the guitar looks great. But until you take the guitar apart and you start looking at the routing, the neck pocket in here, stuff like that, I want to know, is this a well manufactured guitar? If it is, I'm probably going to buy one for myself. Because as soon as the stream started, I unzipped the bag and Linnell gave me that look like, oh, you're going to play my guitar again tonight. I'm bonding with it, and it's strange. I find myself reaching for a tremolo bar with the guitar. So I have been looking at the RGA series, this style Ibanez, and they do have a couple with Godot bridges. I think I would really like that guitar with the Low Pro Godot bridge. I think this thing, I'll be honest with you, the way it's playing, if this had the Low Pro Godot, because I can't get the Kaler I want anymore. So Kaler's out. As much as I love Kaler, I can't get the Kaler bridge that I like. But I think the Goto Low Pro would be the closest to what I really like. But I haven't found one yet in this body style, in the way this one's routed and done with the Low Pro. I did find, it's $2,800 though. Ibanez does make a similar body with a 7-piece neck with the Low Pro, and it has my pickup configuration. Instead of the dual humbuckers, it's a humbucker bridge and single coil dead center. I just can't bring myself to pay $2,800. It is a made in Japan Ibanez, but at $2,800, that's really salty. So I want to find something similar to this in the $600-700 price range with a bridge, and that might be asking too much from Ibanez. It may have to go into the $1,100 or $1,200 range for the Ibanez, if that makes sense. And it's a different feel. Like, I like my Kramer, but when I pick this Kramer up, the Kramer is a lot heavier than the Ibanez. Now, it's a thicker body. It's not as sharp. This is more of a Strat style body that's been rounded over. But there's a definite difference in weight. And the Kramer sounds good. There's nothing wrong with the Kramer. And it's got the FR 1000 bridge. But everyone knows I'm more of a rosewood ebony fingerboard guy. Now, when I bought my two Kramer Berettas, they did not offer rosewood or ebony at all. Now they are making the Kramer American. It's supposedly made here in the United States. That's what I was hearing. And it does have the rosewood neck. But it's over $2,000 for that guitar. This one's made in Indonesia, I believe. Yep, made in Indonesia. I have really been struggling with sinuses, guys. So I am definitely looking for an Ibanez, something a little different. And if you're keeping track, the Axe Effects Fund right now is setting at $500. So I'm still about $2,000 shy of the Axe Effects Fund, if you're keeping track with that. Bought the Hellraiser and I love it. And everyone's talking about I saw a Schecter today that they've been talking about. It's the Alex or Nick Johnson has a Schecter, and it's the import version, and it's like $7.99. And I did look at it today. I was going to pick it up and play it, but it has a conventional bridge on it. So I think I want something with a locking bridge. But I've been hearing really good things about that Schecter, since you guys are talking about Schecter. Does your gold top have thumb wheels? Birdman, Avery, does your gold top have thumb wheels? I don't know what you mean by thumb wheels. I can pick it up and show it to you. You can tell me if it has. If you mean the little things under the knobs, the little metal arrow piece, it does not. So I know some of the guitars have that little piece that sticks out right here. This one doesn't have that. And I was really hoping, everyone here knows that I want a Gibson Les Paul with P90s. Epiphone just said that they're making a inspired by Gibson custom shop line. It's coming with Gibson pickups, Grover tuners. It looks like a really nice guitar. Now granted, it's a $1,300 Epiphone. When I heard they were going to do this, I was really praying that they were going to do like a 60s Les Paul gold top with P90s. They are not. Both of them have humbuckers. I want a real Les Paul. And I do have a Les Paul. I've got an Epiphone Les Paul, the Alex license. But it has a tremolo. But I want one of these in a Gibson. And there's nothing wrong with this guitar. This guitar plays great. I can buy this guitar, I think it's like $250 after shipping. So you can buy 4, 8. You could probably buy 10 of these guitars for the price of the Gibson. Is the Gibson 10 times better? Absolutely not. I guarantee it's not 10 times better. It's just a mental thing. It's something I've always wanted is a real Gibson. But I got this one to scratch the itch. And we've played this guitar on the channel. It's a good sounding guitar. If I was going to really take this guitar to the next level, I would get some really nice tuners for it. Okay? Something like a 19-to-1, 20-to-1 tuner, really nice tuners. And I'd put Dylan's pickups in it. I have a set downstairs. His P90s, guys, are just fantastic. For $200, you are not going to beat Dylan Talks Tones P90s. They are, I can't stress enough, they are fantastic P90s. They do everything a P90 should do. Uh, so if I did that, it'd be $200 for the pickups. Like I think it's like 220 with shipping, and probably $80. I could get some really nice tuning keys on it. This would be a cool guitar. I don't think there's anything wrong with the pots on the guitar. I would probably go in and put orange drop caps on it. I don't remember what's in this guitar. I don't know if I have my screwdriver up here or not. I'd pop it open and look. But this guitar does have the veneered back. So it gives it the appearance that it's a solid body guitar. But it is not. You can see the multi-pieces there. But they did at least laminate the back to give it that look. So that's a nice step. Whenever you laminate the top and the back on a segmented piece of wood, it becomes much more stable. Let's say if I used 5 different pieces of wood, okay, I join them together perfectly, I laminate the top. I can guarantee you that it's going to curve this direction from the top. It's going to. It's not going to curve this direction. It is not going to pull the laminated to make it longer. The top part of the lamination is going to contract and cause a concave. When you laminate the other side, okay, both sides are laminated, even though it's a slight, just a thin veneer, that will stabilize your multi-piece body and keep it straight. It makes a big difference. Is it going to do it in the first year or two? No. But if you go back in 20 years and you look at this guitar, since it's been laminated back and front, you'll notice the body will not have those lamination marks on it. And it's going to be more even and flat. Because the back of this guitar is completely flat. So if you gauge this guitar with a gauge versus an Epiphone that isn't laminated on the back or another guitar that doesn't, this one's going to stay truer longer. Now, if you're in a high humidity climate or it got wet, of course it's going to move. But if both are well taken care of in a nice climate controlled house, 45-50% humidity, the dual laminated guitar is definitely going to hold up better. So I don't have any issues as far as the quality on this guitar. Like I said, and this one has conventional frets, and that's why I've been holding on to it. This one's definitely worth fixing up, and it's not a Gibson. Guys, I don't blame anyone for buying a Gibson, but it needs to say Gibson. There's a side of me, guys, that I see these eBay guitars and they blot out the headstock, and it says Gibson. They're bringing it over here. That's a fake. I have some serious issues with that. I'm a woodworker. I don't want someone copying. It's okay if they copy my work. I look at that. If someone copies my work and they're emulating that work, that should make me feel good. That means my work is good enough for someone to want to copy it. That's a prop, in my opinion. My issue is if someone takes my work and then they put my name on it and I didn't build it. I have issues with that. With this guitar, it's not a Gibson. It says right on it, Firefly. It's got the little Firefly badge and logo right here. They're not trying to make you think that this is a Gibson. It's a Firefly. And they're proud, and they put their name on it, Firefly. But if you like a Gibson Les Paul, Firefly said, okay, I'm going to put our name on it, our badge on it, and this is our take, a budget Les Paul P90. No issues whatsoever with Firefly doing this guitar. And some people say Firefly is made by the people that make Gibson. Again, I don't have a problem with it. Because in this case, they didn't put Gibson on it. It says Firefly, and it does not have the Gibson mustache headstock. It's different. It's not trying to be something that it's not. So I don't have an issue with it at all. Some people say the Firefly over here that I bought. Let me show you that one. That's been causing quite the stir. Everyone's saying, "Oh, they ripped off ESP." Well, it doesn't say ESP on it, and it doesn't have an ESP headstock. This is the George Lynch Firefly. It's a direct rip-off on the paint scheme. I mean, to a T. But it says Firefly right on it. They're not making you think that it's an ESP or whatever. This is a Firefly. I would have an issue if they did a direct copy and then put someone else's name here, that it was not made by them. Then I would have an issue with that product. I would have a big issue with it. But they didn't. So I will give Firefly credit there. Here's another one. Everybody knows that this is a Music Man HP2. PVHB2 Music Man, whatever you want to call it. That's what it is. But they put their name on it and changed the headstock. Got no issues with this guitar either. This is a phenomenal freaking guitar. And if you go back and look at my review, it was one of the worst Fireflies I ever received from them. It played horrible out of the box. But I made the guitar great. You can do that. But I got $550 in the guitar plus a ton of labor. So if I look at my labor and the cost, which is better? That's up to you guys to decide. But I don't have a problem with it because they're not hiding it. It says Firefly right on it. They're not. It doesn't say Music Man. It doesn't say PV. It's not trying to be something that it isn't. They're not leading you on to make you think that it's something that it isn't. So I don't have an issue directly with Firefly. I may have an issue with their vendor. One of their vendors may make Gibsons. Now, it's the people that bring those over and sell them as Gibsons. Now, whose fault is that? Is that the vendor making it? I'd say yeah, and it's the person buying it and bringing it over. It's both. The vendor should say, no, we're not Gibson, we're not putting that name on it. And the person buying it, wanting it to say Gibson, that's not good either. But it takes two. The seller that's on eBay isn't building that guitar. He's at fault for ordering it, and the vendor is also at fault for building it because they're not Gibson. And that's the end of my rant on the whole Gibson thing. And we got started on that over here. But it's not just Gibson. Firefly has taken like the Honer piece, the Mad Cat, the Honer. Firefly makes a nice version of that guitar. The Mad Cat is, I think, one of the best guitars that company makes. The detail and the inlay work on that Telecaster, I think it's on sale right now at Guitar Gardens. For $200, guys, go buy it. Buy it. Get the neck, get the body. It's a phenomenal neck, and it's a nice freaking body. Put whatever electronics you want in and tuners on it. It's a nice neck and body on that guitar. The woodworking in that Mad Cat Telecaster that Firefly is selling, the body alone is worth $200. More than that. And you're getting a nice neck. Both of them, I've ordered two, and both of them were great. Whether or not the new one is that good, I hope so. Because a great guitar. I just think with the amount of woodworking and all the binding and the center binding, it's even done on the back. I've sold both of mine. But every time I go and I see they got it back in stock, I think about ordering another one. Because Go back and listen to the video that I did on that guitar. I thought it sounded good, and the fit and finish on it was good. Probably one of the most impressive guitars the company makes is that Mad Cat. But it does not say Honer. You know, it doesn't say Fender. It says Firefly on it. I have no issues with the company making it in that fashion. They're not trying to deceive you into you buying something that it isn't, if that makes sense. You just got to come down to one thing. Everyone knows this guitar. I paid $329 for it. Is the Mad Cat a better guitar? Okay, you spend $199 plus probably $30 in shipping, so you've got $230 in it. That gives you $100. Can you take the Mad Cat and get it to this level? I think you can, but you're going to have to work for free, if that makes sense. You're going to have to change some things. Is this guitar perfect? No. But out of the box, it's better, okay, pickup wise and tuning key wise, than the Firefly. But it's $100 more. So you spend $100 more, it's playable right now. Now the Mad Cat is playable out of the box. It's probably a bad comparison. That's one of their better guitars. So dollar for dollar, I would say the Mad Cat's a better deal than this one. But it doesn't have the pickup like this. It's not set up the same way. So I'm really not comparing apples to apples. I'm just letting you know, sometimes you got to weigh it out. You know, does it work for you? Does it not work for you? Some people just like buying them and modifying them. I think if you can buy a donor or a Groat, something, Groat's got a Strat right now on Amazon for like $99. It's already finished. Unless that thing is like completely horrible, you're getting a finished body and a finished neck. That's a great guitar to buy. Learn how to fret level, learn how to mod, do your pickups. And I know what someone's thinking, well, I can get a Leo James kit for $119, $130. It's an unfinished body. And to do a good paint job with 2K polyurethanes, that's a catalyzed urethane, something that you have to, the bottom of the can will have a cap that you have to put on the bottom of the can. You puncture it and you shake it. That's mixing the catalyst in with the paint so it hardens. Those are good finishes. Anything that's pre-catalyzed, keep in mind it's not going to be a great finish, if that makes sense. So if you get some nice 2K polys and some clear coats, just the paint is going to run you 50 or 60 bucks. Remember, you're not a guitar factory. You're buying it in a small aerosol can, so the cost goes way up. If you have a Seda mini jet like I have, yeah, you can buy it in a quart. But you're still going to spend 20 bucks, 30 bucks for the clear coat. So then you got to sand it. You got to do all that work to get that body up to the finish. So it's better, maybe if you want to learn how to work on guitars, to buy that $100 Groat that's pre-finished and see what you can do with it, you know, versus buying the full DIY kit where you have to finish it. I think Guitar Fetish sells some pre-finished bodies too that you can go in and pick up your own body that's pre-finished. Revolution says $99 guitar will play badly. 100%, it's going to play badly. I know a $99 guitar is going to play badly. The point is, you're getting a pre-finished body and a pre-finished neck. You're wanting to learn how to level frets. Well, instead of me taking my $900 Kramer and learning on, I can take that Amazon guitar or a guitar that I bought at Goodwill or wherever you can get a cheap instrument. Okay? Learn how to get the neck straight, practice leveling frets and crowning frets. You know, if it's already horrible, it's going to be hard to mess it up, if that makes sense. You know, learn on it. That's my point. We were talking earlier on being able to service your own guitars. I think if you have something like that and you can learn how to do that work on a inexpensive, cheap guitar, and you do make a catastrophic error, you're not you're not out much. Does that kind of make sense? You're not going to lose a month's salary because you made a mistake. And when you get very comfortable, then maybe move up to something like this. Maybe do some end dressings on it. There is nothing wrong with this Squire. This is a fantastic playing guitar. Is it perfect? No, it's not perfect. But for $320, this is a great guitar. I love playing this guitar. And I qualify that because when I pick this guitar up, it makes me play a certain way. I don't play like I play the Ibanez or the Kramer or my Les Paul. I play this guitar different. It's more bluesy, more jazzy. It makes me play that way. That means this is a keeper. It brings something new out in me. So that's why I keep it. And I play this guitar, didn't play it this week for once. That's probably the first week I haven't picked this guitar up and just puttered with it. But I like this guitar. You guys have to understand, I have to look at things as like the channel. Everyone here has a different opinion. Some people are all about the budget guitar. I see the point. I also see the people that say, well, it's not worth it because you've got to change the tuners, you got to change. I get it. So those people will bump up a little bit. They might go to the $450 price point and get something like this. I think this is a great guitar for the asking price. We bought this thing used, and I swear I cannot tell that this guitar was used. And got it for half the price of a new one. That gives you an idea. I don't think I actually said this guitar was $250. That's crazy. Someone bought this guitar and, I don't know, traded it in. There was no scratches or anything on the top. It's a crazy deal. I know it's a crazy deal. That's why we had no intentions on buying that guitar, but when we saw it, played it, and the price point, it's like, yeah, it's a no-brainer. You buy it. That's why whenever you go to the music store, go over to the used section, see what they got. You're not going to hurt their feelings. If you go up and say, will you take this for it? You're not going to hurt their feelings. What's the worst thing they could say? No, we will not take that. But they might counter you and say, okay, no, we won't do $250 on it. They might be asking $350 for it. They might say, well, would you do $299? And that doesn't mean go up to them and lowball them, because certain shops that might piss off. But you might want to just go up to them and say, hey, can you do any better on this? I got cash. Always offer cash, because remember, if you're paying with a credit card, they have a merchant service fee. So they're going to lose 4 or 5% on their merchant service fee. But if you offer them cash, there's no merchant service fee. So right there, you can get 3%. Okay? Most stores will always give you a 10% discount. So go say, I'll give you cash. That's going to save you 3% merchant service fee. And would you do 10% plus the merchant service fee? Say, give me 13% off. On the lower the price instrument, yeah, granted, it makes less change. But, I'm still drinking my cocoa, honey. She just brought a Monster out. But on a lower cost instrument, sure, you're not going to save as much, but you're going to get something. Whenever I buy from Sweetwater, I always ask for 10%. And to date, they have never denied me 10% off. I have always gotten 10% off. I don't buy everything from Sweetwater. I'm not one of their big, I'm sure there's people that buy thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars from them. I don't do that much business at Sweetwater, but they always give me 10% off. But I ask for it. hey, can you do 10%? You know, and they've got a new thing now. It's in-house financing. If you guys didn't know it, they'll divide up the payments over, I think, 3 months or 6 months or something. Didn't know if you guys knew that. They also have Syncrasy Bank that they use, and I don't. I usually tell people not to do that because Secrecy, or where Syncrasy or whatever that bank is, the interest rate is stupid. If you do Sweetwater's in-house financing, I'm pretty sure there's no finance charge. They take the amount and divide it into 6 payments, and you get the product. So it's basically like a layaway, but you have to set it up as an automatic debit. They want to make sure that they're getting their money. But I'm pretty sure there's no interest rate on it, but it is an automatic debit. So you have to make sure that money's there. They're going to get their money. If the money's not there, the bank is still going to send it. They're just going to overdraft your account. Now you're going to pay the amount that was supposed to go to Sweetwater plus an overdraft fee. So I'm pretty sure Sweetwater has that worked out with their merchant provider. Whether it overdraws your account or not, your bank's going to send that money. There has to be a catch there somehow. So if you didn't know, they do that. I have something. Is it the Yamaha that we're paying on? I think it's my AG08 I set up that way. I think it was six payments. And they just draft my account each month. When that's paid off, I'm sure I'll move on to something else. I mean, where are you going to get a deal like that? You get the product and you get to make interest-free payments 6 times. That's a no-brainer. I know when my checks go in, so I told them, okay, draft it on this date. I just make sure that we have the money there. You know, it's if you don't have the money there and you're going to pay overdraft fees, then it doesn't make sense. But it makes a lot more sense than doing that than putting it on a credit card, if that makes sense. Yeah, exactly, Resolution. Secrecy, I guess that's how you pronounce it. It's like 28% interest. It's some ridiculous interest rate that they charge. Yeah, that's who Sweetwater uses, is Secrecy. Well, that's who they were using. Because when I bought this Kramer, I put it on Secrecy, but I paid it off in 2 months because of the interest rate. When I got the thing, I saw the interest rate. I'm like, oh my gosh, look at the interest rate on this. So I quickly paid it off. Yeah, Z Sounds I've seen does that as well. They give you an option of 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, and they break it up. And I don't know if they have an interest that they're charging on that or not. I don't know if Stefan knows if that's interest free or what they're doing. But if you can do that, that's the way to do it. I mean, how can you lose? You buy a $600 guitar and you pay $600 payments. To me, that's a no-brainer. I used it once and they called me on the due date and told me my payment was late. I paid it off that day and told them to cancel my account. You know what's funny? We just did that with our Lowe's account. And that was Secrecy. They kept saying, well, this and this and this. Finally, I called them. I said, I don't know how much you claim we're behind or this or that, but I want to pay it off. Just close the account. We're paying it off. And it was like $2,000. But I know on that, Lowe's got me because Lowe's will say it'll be 6 months interest free, right? Okay. Well, it's good as long as you do one purchase. Okay, because you get 6 months interest free as long as you make the payment on that product and you pay it off in 6 months, you're good. But here's where they get you. Let's say you've bought something and you have 6 months to pay for it, okay? You go and you buy something else, okay? Maybe 3 months down the road, and you got 6 months. When you're applying your payments, it applies to both. As soon as there are 2 items on there, they split the payment. They're bad for that. They don't want your first payment, your first item, to be paid off within the first month, 6 months, for no interest. So it tracks. Oh, he's got 3 things that are interest free. He sent us $100. Well, now you're going to spend $33.33 on each one of those items. It doesn't apply it 100% to the first item purchased. I know that for a fact because that's what Lowe's did to us. We had got an emergency on our, well, we did our washer and dryer, but then the water heater exploded. And I didn't have $1,000 sitting in the bank to do a water heater. So we went down and put it on Lowe's. And that water heater, we bought some other things when her father had passed away for the house to get it fixed up. And that's when it got messed up. When I started putting multiple things on there, it's like, well, I know I've sent this for that. Why am I getting interest on the water heater? So secrecy is bad. Yeah, Stefan says no interest. So Z sounds. And another guitar I was thinking about, that brings me up. I meant to go to Z Sounds. I'm in search of the SL27EX Jackson. I'm pretty sure it's the SL. It's the 27 fret neck through Jackson. They have discontinued the model. They are no longer going to make it. So whatever guitars are out there right now, that's it. Sweetwater called me last week. I think I may have already talked about this on the last stream. I had it on layaway, and now I have switched over to the PV Vandenberg, which I'm pretty sure I'm going to cancel. But I started thinking, my little squirrel brain said, there has to be some of those Jacksons still sitting on a shelf somewhere. And I'm pretty sure it's the SL27EX. It's a 27 fret. It has Floyd Rose 1000 here, one humbucker, and a single coil, 27 fret. So I am going to probably go to Z Sound, see if they have it. I'm going to go to, well, I know Sweetwater does not have it. Maybe Guitar Center has one sitting around somewhere. And I might go on Reverb and look around. It is not a baritone 27 fret. It is a 25.5 inch scale, Birdman. So it's going to be really tight. That should probably be a 26 inch scale. But that's fine. 25.5. You know, it's not even about having the 27 frets. What it's more about on a 27 fret guitar, okay? The neck goes to here, okay? Basically to right here. So the cutaway is moved back. So your 24th fret, where normally you feel like you're hitting the body on a 24 fret guitar, the 27 fret guitar, the body's cut out more. So it's not even about being able to get down to that 27 fret and getting your finger between the frets. It's more about where the neck here, since it's neck through, starts to get thicker. It's pushed back. So instead of that being around the 15th or 16th fret or the 14th fret, it's going to push it. Maybe the 17th or 18th fret is where the neck starts to get thicker, and the cutaway goes back even more. So that gives you a better reach and better access to the neck. Oh my gosh, Droopy. Droopy. Thank you so much, Droop. So that was the main reason I was thinking about getting one of them, and that's why I had one on order at Sweetwater. And I did that back in August, and it just never come in. It never come in, and never come in, never come in, never come in. And finally, they just called me and said, "We're not going to get them. They're not going to make them." So I'm gonna do the search for the guitar and try to find one. And that's what brought me to the Ibanez. The Ibanez I was looking at. Let me see if I can find that, guys. It's not neck through is the problem. Let me see if I can find it. I'm pretty sure Sweetwater has it. Let me go to Sweetwater here. do some searching. We're looking for an Ivan Had. Oh, and I don't know why. Whenever I first start clicking into Sweetwater, it always kicks me out. We're going to say RGA. Because I'm pretty sure it was an RGA model. Yes. So here's the guitar I was thinking about. Let me switch screens here, guys. Display screen. Here is a guitar that's very similar to the Jackson. Now this one is not neck through. And the difference is right here, the Ibanez, they didn't push this back as much. Right where my little pointer is pointing. So the Jackson, they brought this down further. Now this one's bolt-on, so that's part of the reason. The Jackson was neck through. But I like this pickup configuration. I like the humbucker single. Even though that this is technically a humbucker, it's still a single coil size. So you've got the extra frets. It pushes it up forward, so it's not going to be as mid-toned as if they put a humbucker here, because the humbucker is going to come down further. So they have this in two different colors. You can get it in black and white. And it's not a super heavy guitar. Here's one, 7 pounds, 14 ounces for this one. So it's not a light guitar, but it's not a really heavy guitar. And this is the back neck joint. Now they're saying, I'll click on these things here. It says save $800 on eBay. And you get there and it's the exact same price. I did find one used on Reverb for $2,200. Or it was $2,000. And it shows a case. So evidently it does come with the case for that. And it should. At $2,800 it should come with a case. And that's a close-up of the fret, the way the frets are set up. So if anyone knows of a guitar that's set up in this fashion, this pickup configuration, okay, it doesn't have to be a 27 fret, but this pickup configuration with a low pro bridge, see this is the low pro bridge, and a neck through. That would be like one of my dream guitars. So the one that I switched to is this model. So I technically have this guitar on pre-order right now. And it is neck through. I don't know if they're going to show a neck through version of it, a picture of the neck through joint or not. Of course not. But it is a neck through. And it's a rear painted neck. That's the inlays. The inlays are cool. Seymour Duncan pickups. And it upsets me. Even though this is a re-release, they did not go back to Kaler and do a spotter. They did put a Floyd Rose on it. So this is actually not an accurate re-release of this guitar. It needs to have a Kaler on it. Whether it's the spotter, which they still make, or I'm sure at $2,800 they could have had Dave build some 2700s for this guitar. It's made in Romania, so at a Romanian price point, Mr. Kaler could have come in, you know, if they were going to do 500 of these guitars, I'm sure he could have cut them a price break at 600 a piece, 650 a piece. They could have.
Pink one, Avery?
Yes, I want the hot pink. That was the one that was popular. And what's sad, at $2,900, that's the cost of this guitar, I can buy a mint vintage one, an 87, for about that money. $2,700 for the original with the Kaler. So it kind of makes it, well, why would I buy this non, it's not really a Vandenberg with this bridge, if that makes sense. The only advantage this one has over the original is it is now neck through body. The original was a bolt on. But I would have much rather, them do a bolt on neck and make it the way they did make a neck through body guitar. The puzzle guitar was neck through. They're worth stupid money now.
They say it's set neck.
Yeah, it's saying set neck. Well, yeah, it's a glued in neck, but it gives you that neck through back. Yeah, it is a set neck. The original one was a set neck as well, but I would have been okay if they would have went bolt on with a Kaler. Okay, I would have been fine with that, and maybe they could have got this price point down to $1,800. I just can't imagine a Romanian-made guitar for $3,000. At $3,000, I can get a Kiesel, and it's made in the United. That's kind of where I'm going at, guys. $3,000. It's Romanian.
They're made in Czech, isn't it?
I thought it was Romania.
I thought he said they were made in Czech.
Oh, maybe it's Czech Republic.
Yeah.
It might have been the Czech. Either way, it's not. My point is, it's not American. Whether it's Romanian or Czech Republic, wherever it is, at a $3,000 price point, I just don't see it. I am 100% sure I could build a Kiesel neck through with a bridge in that pickup configuration for $3,000.
Kurt said that's not a Vandenberg without a Kaler.
Exactly. That's my point. It's not a Vandenberg without the Kaler. But since they took the guitar I wanted off, they're not going to get it anymore. I guess I'm now searching for my next Super Strat, and I don't really need it, but I am looking for a neck through guitar, and that this is or set neck type neck through joint. I thought I found one. The Jackson was $1,999, so this one's $1,000 more. I don't see it. I think the Jackson was a much better, and that's what I'm saying. Jackson's doing it. That's an import. Why is the PV $1,000 more for basically the exact same spec? So there's no, unless someone knows of another product, that's the only product that I'm seeing in 24 fret neck through with or set neck with this pickup configuration. If someone knows of another product with this pickup configuration, let me know.
Resolution said you can get a Jackson custom shop with that configuration for $2,500 plus tax.
Which one is it?
Jackson custom shop with that configuration.
Jackson Custom Shop. Jackson Custom Shop. That might be. I know that they've done a lot of new stuff with the Jackson Custom Shops. My local music store has ordered some. And when they come in, they've already told me they're going to give me one for review. So I guess I'll base my decision when they get those in. Would they say August?
Yeah, I think so.
They're not coming in until August. So be prepared for a USA made Jackson Custom Shop on the channel in the next couple months. We've already made the deal. When they come in, they're going to give me one for review. And they already know that I tear the guitar apart. So
Renzo said LTD 87 series on the ESP site.
LTD 87. Okay, I'll look at that one too. That's what I'm looking for. And then I'm always looking for the best bang for the buck.
He said the LTD one's only $1,500.
Yeah, I've got back when LTD first come out, the LTD was like the super budget. And now LTD has became their primary line. I guarantee you they probably sell 5, 6 LTDs to an ESP or an E2. I would say. So that's their primary line, and I've heard nothing but good things about the LTD stuff. 1,500. Well, it's just like Epiphone coming out. I'd put another 100 in for it for a better neck pup and harness switch. Rezo says LTD is a top dog. Yeah, I just remember when it come out to be the budget because the ESPs were hitting 2 grand, 2,200. So they brought the LTD line in to bring the budget down. And now we're seeing such a big shift. That's what I was saying with Epiphone. I thought I brought this up a couple months ago. You've got Gibson and you've got Epiphone. Now your Epiphones are hitting $1,300, $1,500, $1,000. When do we see the budget brand of Epiphone? Because see, Epiphone is they're getting away from their $200, $300, $400 guitars, where Squier, Fender's brand, you can still get, a $200 Squier. They haven't really abandoned it. Now, do they make a $200 Epiphone? Yeah, you can get a $200 Epiphone, but they don't really push it. Squier has the whole Bullet line and the Affinity line, and it's all 400 and lower. You're not really seeing that with Epiphone. And now with LTD, you got ESP, E2. There's another one. I don't want to say it's Eastman that they own. The one with the 3 lines at the top. I don't remember what it is. But they're very expensive. Then you have the LTD. They no longer have their sub $500 brand or $600. LTDs are going up. So when do these companies bring back another brand to bring their price point down? Because like you're just saying, LTD is top dog. They're not going to release a $400 guitar under the LTD brand badge. At least I wouldn't think they would. So they're going to have to do something, to get that price point. Yeah, the E2 is the name of the American line now. Exactly. Eastman isn't advertised much, but also a great playing guitar. Is that owned by ESP, Eastman? I'm thinking it is, but there's another sub brand of ESP. I want to say it starts with an E, but I don't know what it is. I don't remember.
Jupe said, how about a custom music and gear guitar?
Yeah, I've thought about that, Jupe. And I've talked about it on the channel a couple times. It just comes down to people willing to spend the money. I can't offer, and I'll be honest with everybody, I can't offer a guitar at a competitive price point like these other companies. It takes me longer to do things, okay? So unless you're wanting to get above the $3,000 range, as far as how do you put it? Is a fast guitar any less, I don't want to say less good, that's improper English. Let's say you take a slow guitar. That means something that's been worked on and worked on and worked on and worked on versus a fast guitar. You take a slow guitar and the tech's working on it and they make a mistake. So they rework it. Gibson does a refinish or they do a recrown or whatever. But they get the guitar perfect. Okay? And they have 200 hours in it. Well, this fast guitar just happens to go through the production line. Everything was right. Okay? Is that fast guitar just as good as that slow guitar? Yes, it is. Just because it was built fast doesn't mean that it wasn't good. All the stars aligned and everything worked, and that fast guitar come off the production line and it's killer. The difference is the guitar in front of the fast guitar, maybe it's not as good, and that one got sent to a different store. You're you don't know what you may or may not get. Where the slow guitar, the end result should be extremely consistent. When you order one, you should be getting a consistent quality. They should all be great guitars. That's why a lot of people frown on Gibson, because the old saying with it, well, did you play it first? Because it's either a good Gibson or a bad Gibson. At that price point, their product should be more consistent. ESP makes a very consistent product. If you spend the extra money for an ESP, you know you're getting a good guitar.
Kurt said there are a few PVV type Vandenberg style guitars used on Guitar Center.
Yeah, the V type, my son has one that we redid, a PVV type. That's a phenomenal guitar. I just have a mental block paying $700-800 for a V type. I just have a mental block on that. But I may end up getting another Vandenberg, just a pink Vandenberg, for what they're wanting the new one for. I don't know. Yeah, Eastman makes great violins. I think that's how Eastman kind of started, was doing violins and stuff. So I'm looking, but I'm not going to mess up my Axe Effects fund. Like I said, I got about $500 for the Axe Effects fund right now, so I don't want to be stealing from that. And there's plenty of guitars here for me to play. I just like talking guitars. And any time that I have the opportunity to find something, if you get a good deal on, I'm open-minded to it. It's like this guitar. When Linnell come up to me and said they wanted $250 for it, it was kind of like a no-brainer. This is a great guitar for that. You don't pass up on that deal. Because I know I can play this guitar and play it. I can sell this guitar for $250. No problem.
You're not selling my guitar.
Yeah, she said I'm not selling the guitar. But what I'm saying is, if I fall out of love with it, okay, or she falls out of love with it, you can get $250 out of this guitar all day long. So we're not going to get hurt on it, if that makes sense. That makes it a no-brainer decision to buy. So if I find one of the Jacksons that are discounted out on Z Sounds or Reverb, I may pick one up, because I think that would be a good fit, the EX27. I don't think the Ibanez would be. Maybe the LTD that Rezo's talking about. I'll look at that one, see what that one looks like. There's got to be somebody that makes one.
Resolution said, I don't know what you think about line 6, but the Pod Go is 500 and it's amazing.
Yeah, I've got a line 6 HX Stomp right here. I think the Axe Effects is on another level, if that makes sense. I had an original Line 6 pod, the orange-red rack mount unit, and it now this was years ago. A lot of legacy, a lot of issues with that unit as far as the feel under the fingers. Didn't keep it long, and that's why I was so far on getting the HX Stomp. The pod, the rack mount pod, left such a bad taste in my mouth, even though people were telling me that the HX Stomp was good and it didn't have those issues. I steered away from it. And I eventually did get one, and I have no issues with it. I think it's great when I go out on vacation. That's what I take. I take my HX Stomp, my headphones, and plug into it. It's a great travel thing, if that makes sense. As far as ease of use, believe it or not, this cheap Yamaha amp that's up here, I don't know if camera seen, this little guy right here, ease of use, 100% on that little amp. It sounds good. Everything you've heard tonight is that little Yamaha. It works.
Resolution said HX Stomp is not a Pod Go.
Yeah, it's not a Pod Go. It's just an HX Stomp.
Said, Avery, do you know if Axel guitars were only made in the USA?
Who is it?
If
Axel? I did not know that, Devastator.
asking you if they are.
I don't know much about the company, if that makes sense. I don't know Devastator. But the Line 6 architecture is pretty much the same. Like they got a sale. Is that at the Pod Go, the little foot pedal thingy? I think it's just maybe it's a Pod. It's a great little pedal. It's normally like 179. If you guys want one, they're on sale right now for 129. And that's pretty much across all the music stores because Line 6 has said, look, put these on sale. And they make a bass version and the guitar version. Great little pedal. It's got amp modeling in it, delays, reverbs. For $129, it's hard to beat. I actually went to the store today looking at them. They had them. They were on sale for $129. I double checked it. Sweetwater's got it for $129. Guitar Center's got it for $1. Everyone has it for $129. It's a great little pedal. That might be the one Rezzo's talking about. It has one center knob and four knobs in each corner. And it does a bunch of different things. I'm pretty sure it's considered a Pod Go. It's a nice unit. AXL guitars are made both USA and Asia. That's what Kurt's saying. Hand assembled in Hayward, California. I don't know, Rezzo, is that the one you're talking about? The little, I don't know if I can find it now. Let me see if I can find it on Sweetwater, and you can tell me if that's the one that you're talking about. Let me maximize this. I know they're on sale because I just looked at them. Pod. Yep. This little guy right here. So let me go back to display screen. So this guy right here. Great little unit. Now granted, it is what it is. It's $130. But for $130, this thing works a lot like the Yamaha does up here. The further you move this, the more percentage of the effect that you get.
Rezzo said the Pod Go is $500.
Pod Go. Is that the little foot controller guy? It might be the foot controller guy. This is the one if I was buying a little Line 6 guy, I would probably get that one. The Pod Go. Yep. That's probably this one. They have two versions. Is that the one? That's probably the one he's talking about.
He said, no, that's a pedal. I'm talking about something different.
Well, this one says Line 6 Pod Go, $4.99. Limited time offer. Comes with an IR sampler pack.
Kurt said, don't get that Pod, get the Pod Black, same price.
Pod Black.
I think that might be the Pod Go thing.
Yeah, I think this just says Line 6 Pod Go. So let's look at Pod Black.
Rezzo said that's the one.
All right, let's see the one that Kurt's talking about, a Pod Black. I'm not seeing a Pod Black. This one's a Pod Go, but it looks different than this one. I don't know if it doesn't say black. So I don't know what the difference is in this one. Maybe it's just got the wireless guitar piece. Yeah, before I bought a Pod Go, I would buy the new what's that? A VP. It's a VP something that Axe Effects just come out with. It's like $7.99.
Rezzo said he might be talking about the Pod Go because there's a red one and a black one.
Yeah, this one's the red. The one I saw today was black. This one's the base one.
Kurt said, yeah, the cheap one.
Yeah, black. I think it's this one he's talking about. Yeah, yeah, this is called a Pod Express. Now, see, in my little squirrel brain,
he said the black is for metal.
yeah, I would do something like that, just as an add-on. After seeing how this little Yamaha works, and you when you get to this little groove and it goes to dirty, the more you turn it, the dirtier it gets. Then when you get right here, it goes to clean. And then it changes your clean. That's how this Yamaha is working. So you've got, looks like you got digital, you've got tape delay, ambience, Hall. You've got all these little things, and it would be easy just to lean over and kind of dial it in. I have an ART SGX 2000. If I want to get overly creative and create sounds, that unit will create any sound. It's just this looks like it would be extremely convenient to do really quick changes on and get a nice sound. And like I said, right now it's on sale. So I think I'm going to get one of these guys. And I may end up just getting it for review and see what we think of it. But to me, looking at it, it seems like it would be nice. And if it's using the same architecture as the other ones, it should have good sounds. It should sound good. If it's using the same architecture. Now you guys probably know more about Line 6 than I do as far as the architecture. But if it's the same architecture, it should sound pretty good. A guy came to my studio with one and it was really good for metal. Well, that's cool. Alright guys, I think we're going to call it a stream night for tonight. How long have we been on? 2 hours and 40 minutes. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to go like I usually go. My my throat's killing me. And I think it's the shade, the pollen here. There's green and yellow stuff all over my vehicle when I get up in the morning. And it has just really been killing me. And I don't, normally it doesn't bother me too much. But this year it's just tearing me up. Rizzo says the Podgo is lower cost version of the Helix. Yeah, as long if it's using, let's say they've got an architecture, and let's say they've eliminated, you can't go in and change a lot of the different parameters. They just have this parameter, and all you're doing is changing the amount. I'm fine with that. The Helix has been out for so long, they've got it down. You know, they're going to pick structures that work, and all you're doing is changing the amount. I have no, for what that's designed to do, plug it in, turn a little knob, you get less or more. What the old saying, keep it simple, stupid. I think that thing would be perfect for that. And someone told me you can set up pre-programmed change, that little buttons around that center circle, whether it's true or not. You can set up a couple different pre-programmed, so when you hit the button, it just goes through them. If that's the case, that's a stupid good deal for 130 bucks. Well, if you guys know the channel, I want everyone to do me a favor and go down and hit the like button. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing. Like I said, I don't have subscriber mode only on the chat. So if you like the channel and you think I've earned your subscription, go down and hit the subscription. I'd greatly appreciate it. It does help. Every emoji that you put on, every thumbs up that you put on, and every comment that you put in down below does help. Just like the chat window. Every chat comment, YouTube calculates. So the more chat comments, the better it sees the stream. But without you guys, the stream wouldn't be possible. Like with you guys bringing in your point of view and your experiences, that's what makes the chat awesome. And I learn so much from you guys. Hopefully I'm able to do the exact same thing to you guys. Hopefully you guys learn some things. But we are going to definitely do the 5-minute chat window. But I'm not sure which one of these. I have 3. So I don't know which one of these 5-minute chat windows is right. So it may say Thursday night live stream. But I think it's this one. So this is 5 minutes for everyone to close up their conversations, and that's just what it's about. I always thought it was pretty cool. I actually get to actually sit and read the conversations now because I don't have to talk at the end, and everyone has a little closure. But again, I want to thank everyone for coming to the stream. You guys are great, and I appreciate it.